No problem. I'm just putting them together to make it easier if you want to just grab them and pass out.
These are already collated.
Yep.
Okay, there's no moving. Sorry, we've taken attendance.
We thought we would do this. Nice to you. You know.
I appreciate it if Scott doesn't.
Fill out an official entry for Westlaw 9. I can believe you.
Well, see, it's not hard if people run out of one class. It's my fault. Sorry.
He's serving champagne at the end.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, thank
Right,
you.
Julie?
You bet it.
You gotta stay to see it happen. So.
Well, actually, we get. You're gonna. The only.
Please. I really need that prize, you know.
Where are you flying back to?
Well, I am flying to China next week.
Oh, then you need it.
13 hours.
You really need it.
With a 13-year-old.
Oh, they need it too.
Oh, my God. She really needs it.
But then tomorrow we have to come back to the session, right?
Well, yes.
Set of cards.
Well, yeah. No, because all the classes.
But what about other Shaboos?
And that's a whole separate drawing.
I know that's a separate drawing,
See,
but
so
do I
you
have to enter that every day?
Yeah.
Title. Who would have to be there? No, not Dean. Nothing to do with that.
Queen
For a day.
Queen for a day.
See?
Yeah, you wouldn't know. You didn't ever see that show, did you?
Me?
I'm a lot older than you think.
38.
Keep going.
About 9 years ago.
Keep going. Keep going.
That was evil. That was bad.
Close.
45.
42.
I was close the first time. Some of us have you by a long time.
Hey, ask any question you want. None are stupid as long as you participate. Makes presentations go so much easier when others participate.
I haven't sat in this class yet, so we definition of a stupid question. So
I bet you I could ask a neat
I've provided a few of those to professors.
No.
Didn't we get a card?
Here we go.
Hey, you're not going to collect them unless we stay.
Well, that's all right. I was going to stay anyway.
Okay.
I really was.
We want to see how.
And what's this guy's name again? Niles? Nigel.
I'm sorry, I can't believe it.
Scott, hand signals if you can't hear. I haven't even.
Other is it?
Nikki, do you have one of the? Oh, there's some right there.
Thank you.
Yep, there's the one. Yep. Here we go. All right. thank you for coming. My name is Luethmers. I'm the technology manager for the academic group at West. As usual, the technology is at the last session between you and going home. So, hopefully I can keep you up and around. And if you need to stand up and walk around, that's fine. We're going to talk about today is integration solutions. Integration solutions is a product that's been around with West for a couple of years. Originated. Let me back up a second. I've been with West for 15 years. The previous 13 years, I've been on the law firm side. The last 2 years, I was on academic. So one of the reasons for bringing me into the academic is taking some of the products and stuff that they were using in the law firms and make sure that they're getting into the law schools. So Westlaw Integration Solutions has been something that's been around for 3 or 4 years on the law firm side. The biggest advantage of integration solutions is when we move from a West-made environment, a proprietary software, to the internet, we're able to take pieces of Westlaw and put it into how an attorney does research. In regards to a managing partner, we're able to take integration solutions, create a little control that's just a fine template, put it on a partner's desktop as their wallpaper. So when they wanted to pull up a case in the middle of the night or whatever to do client development, they could just type the citation on their desktop, hit enter, it brings the case up on their screen. They're the very infrequent users is what we were targeting because they didn't know how to, most of them didn't even know their passwords because they would use it once a month. We were able to take with Windows 98 and make a web page their wallpaper. Put in different links, hard code their password in, away they go, and everything comes up that way. So that was kind of the starting of integration solutions, and we've taken it to the next step and now moving it into different areas. The other area that we've got is West SiteLink, West IntraClip, and West NewsLink, which is more of a current awareness, which just recently we've started moving into not only the legal news, but different cases as well, so that you can actually put searches against some circuits, different areas, to see as new cases come in, Supreme Court, those are pushed out to you. So instead of you don't have to go out there and do research on those, it will actually push it to your email address. So that's what that is. Integration solutions. Definition is just providing content in context. Taking it, when we moved away from the proprietary software, like I said before, we were taking areas of Westlaw and put it into the context that you do research. If you're a bankruptcy attorney, we can pull all those bankruptcy databases and put it into one page so you only will go to that one area instead of having to go through the 18,000 databases on West to find the databases that you might look at. I had a professor that I worked with out on the East Coast stuck on Westmate. Wouldn't get off and gave me a challenge. Love Westmate, use it all the time, never leaving it. And my response was, I was on the Westmate development team. We must have done something right. But what I did when I left is I went out and took all the databases that he was comfortable using from Westmate, and I created a single page for him. Gave him his URL, so all he has to do now is just click on the databases he wanted to go to, put in his query, and it brought up his results. It went from taking that learning curve that was very steep for him, and we flattened it out real quick. And I'll show you some of the examples of those pages. Okay, you see the red in there? Don't that stand out real? What it is, it starts out with HTML. We have, because Westlaw.com is an HTML environment, we can create wizards that you tell us what we want, we'll create the code. So if you're a webmaster or if you're responsible for your school or firm's intranet, we can generate the coding for you to then populate an intranet. Most of the time, the hardest part about doing an intranet or a web page is getting content so that it changes on a daily basis to drive more people back to it. So if you do current awareness on the Wall Street Journal or certain databases, it's that constant going in and updating that data that's always the struggle. Integration solutions will allow you to go in there and it will update it for you. So you only have to put it on there once. Let me show you where the wizard is. Go to lawschool.westlaw.com. We have a page customized for integration solutions. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry.
I wanted to know,
Yes. They can work together because really what this is it's a URL that we'll point you to. and well, I'll generate right now. And once you load that URL into Twin, it'll always bring you to the location. Will always stay the same. We will just feed in all the new material to that location. West has static URL. So if you put a URL to 100 SCT1, it will always be in that one location. Doing a current awareness on case law or news, we give you the area that you always go to, so the URL stays the same. What we do is we feed that area with all the new cases. So as it now gets old, it moves out of this area and back to the regular place. So it's a constant refreshing of that area, so you don't have to refresh the URL. Okay. Here, let me just give you a quick example. I'm going to go ahead and build a search box. And by the way, these, when you get to this page, these are all live. So here's a control box that goes to all Feds database. So all the user would have to do is type in what search they want to go to, hit search, and it would bring up those results. This works really good for legal research and writing, teaching students initially how to do it. This is the database I want you to go to. All Feds is not a good example of that. But you can create one to the database that you want, and even to the one step farther is put in a rudimentary search for them, and then the assignment is, hone it down to a much more on-point search. But let me show you how that was done. So here's build other search boxes, either to a document or to a search results, which I'll go ahead and do that. Enter the database. If you know it, you can go ahead and type in the database identifier, or you click on the down arrow and choose one. So here I'm just going to do one for ALR. That might not be. Let's see if I can find just a case one. Here's Supreme Court cases. There's a good one. And in the search, I just want to do murder in a same sentence conviction. Now the text that the text link or link text is what the user will see. So if I want that to say search SCT, we are asking you, when they click on this, do you want to open up a new browser window? And typically that answer should be yes, so that the user, when they get to this results, don't think that they're, when they click on close their browser, now they just closed everything down that got to this link. Create a link. Now here's the coding that a webmaster that you would copy and paste in. Or in your case, copy and paste this into the Twin area, and when you click on this, that's what it will go to. This is what the user would see. Right here, the user clicks on that, it opens it up, has them put in their password. And brings them directly to the results of what you had pre-programmed in. So here it is for the Supreme Court and the search murder and same sentence conviction. So you can pre-populate out a search. Where law firms were using this quite a bit was they would go into different databases and put in a standard query to do searches on their clients. So they didn't have to go and do any searches. They could see if whatever was happening with their clients on a daily basis. So if you applied this for Pillsbury against a newspaper database, this would then show up every time they click on it on their web page to see what's happening about their client. So that's just one way of generating. Close that. Now taking that, what I've also done, and here's an example of that one professor I was telling you about. I took the wizards and just with some minor modifications created this page. What this is here's a find template, which is one of the wizards that you can do. So I can type in a citation, hit find, and it'll pull up that case. I have a key cite template. I can do Black Laws Dictionary. So I can do that setup in that template. But in this case, he was a criminal procedures, or is a criminal procedures professor. He can now just click what databases, up to 10, that he wants to do a search in. Click the search. And in this case, because I had closed it, it will do a multi-database search on all the ones that I have checked. So, okay, I must have checked one that didn't have up here. Oh, there it is. Just took a little bit. Or is that the Supreme Court one? That's it. No, that's it. I'm having a little with the wireless jumping around. But here, it'll do the multi-search and bring it right up. So he didn't have to go through the learning curve in this case. I gave him the URL. We house it at West. He puts this on his home computer. He brings this up, and he can do all the searching he wants to on the databases that he was used to going to without having to find the databases. But now he can take advantage of the different changes, in this case, that are only available on Westlaw.com and no longer on the Westmate. Because Westmate, as of about 3 years ago, we stopped development. It's still active, but all the new development is on Westlaw.com. Yeah? In this case, this is just going straight to databases. But yes, when you go to current awareness, yeah, you can say update it 14 days back, 6 days back. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay.
So this screenshot.
This is their desktop. This can be their desktop. This is a link to it. Over here, they can put in, the current awareness. So this will go to all the different cases, new cases that come in. If I clicked on criminal justice, it'll open up a product I'll talk about a little bit is the West News link. And here's all the new cases that came in on that topical area. So he didn't have to go and sign in to just that one database. He could just open this up. And what he was doing is sending this link to the students. And then the students can also check all the new databases that were coming in without having to find the database identifier and put in a search. We just show them all the new ones. Okay. Another one that we did is a topical. In this one, we put it together. Pretty much the same concept. Here's all the databases that are available for a student that has graduated and going into career services. So they can go in here and not have to look up what databases. They can go through and pick up the databases from the career services. And we load this actually on the web page on a lot of the schools' intranets for the career services. So they have another resource to give to the students to go look for jobs or look for information on potential jobs. Okay. Legislative history. This is the one that has now been created. This has been around for about 3 years. Wes has now finally made a tab out of this. What my counterparts out in D.C. did is they took the process for legislative history research and made it come alive. We had this as a documentation piece that we would pass out, but now they're able to go through here and say, okay, the preliminary congressional inquiries, click on that. It'll show the databases that are available on Westlaw in that area. As you scroll down, you can then do research in that area. So adding this as a resource to the student that's just learning this process, they don't have to carry around the pamphlet. They can go to this URL and look at that whole process. Here, as you go around to the 12-step program, up into here, it'll then link to the information on West that pertains to that area. So that's, and everything in the background that links all this is West Integration Solutions. Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah. Yeah. In there is a couple extra ones. I'm actually open to, if you have one that's not on there, that I've scanned it in and use Integration Solutions to go through. There's a couple more I'll show you on the U.S. court system and U.S. Courts of Appeals, and how the integration solution has made those come alive as well. And we'll go through those as well. Another piece of integration solution is West SiteLink. West SiteLink is a piece of software that you can load on your computer. And what it will do is it'll take either a word processor or an HTML document and hyperlink all the citations on it. So if you have, in this case, I've got just a sample document in Word format, and I've got all the citations in it. This document you want to go ahead and load on your intranet for someone to look at. If you run SiteLink against it first, it'll go through it and hyperlink all the citations in it. So as the user is reading through, they can then click on the site links or the links and go straight into Westlaw. They don't have to write down and potentially transpose it. They can go straight to the document. And this, again, it's a free piece of software that's out there allowing you to do this. Another piece of site link is you can create a table of authority, where it will go ahead and rank all your different documents by federal, state cases, statutes, and that's part of it as well. But one of the really neat things that
doesn't work for long.
It does. Yeah. One of the pieces that kind of came out of it, here's a HTML document or copy of that same document. And this could be just any document I found on the internet. I had a professor out on the East Coast. Every day goes out to IRS site. And he was always writing down all the citations from the IRS site. He didn't have control of that document, but he can go under with SiteLink and mark up documents so that he can hyperlink to it while he's still on the IRS website. It'll open up a new window to jump to West so he can read that case without losing the reason why he thought that was a pertinent reason to read that case. Didn't have to write down the citation. Now, when he leaves the IRS website, the links are gone because he didn't have the right to change it, but temporarily while he was on that web page, he's able to hyperlink all those citations. Or you can do a file save as. Yep. So if you want to do a file save as, you can then save this page with all the hyperlinks. If we prefer you to use Twin, which Twin does this automatically, but if you're using Blackboard or some other course management tool, you can run SiteLink against it prior to posting it into Blackboard so that those hyperlinks are already done. Or, what we've had the account managers do is just go ahead and make sure the students have it. So if they come across a citation that's not hyperlinked, they can write SiteLink against it and be hyperlinked or hyperlinked while they're in that page. So, okay, but that's what SiteLink is. It's just a very quick, easy way that if you're doing a lot of searching, either out on the internet for citations and hyperlink them, or if you have documents, and law reviews use it quite a bit, so they can, as they're putting together their briefs or their journals and stuff, they can use this so that they can go back to it and make sure that everything is still what they had intended to when they put it in the document. Okay. West Intraclip. How many of you have used West Clips? Okay. What you find on this West Intraclip is very similar to the same thing. West Intraclip you're allowed to use with your own password. You do searches against certain databases. West Intraclip takes it one step farther, is where you can put it on a single password, but you can manage it for other people. You can put in different email addresses. If I'm a librarian and I'm managing or taking care of research for different professors, I can go ahead and set it up for each one of the professors, and all I have to do is put their email address in, and it will show up to them. When they go on vacation or it's in between semesters, I can go ahead and shut it off. You don't have to go onto their password and do a West Clip. You can do the same thing here. Or you take the results of this and put it into an Intraclip or into an intranet and use it that way. Now, we did make some changes. If you've gone to West Intraclip before, we've made some changes recently. We'll go through those real quick. The biggest is the RSS feeds. If anybody knows what those are, it's when I first found out what the acronym meant, I'm like, that can't be right. It's a really simple syndication. It's a way of taking a West Intraclip, which is a current awareness feed, and you're able to put it into one area. So if I'm a librarian and I've got 10 companies that do what West Intraclip does, I can feed those all in using RSS into one interface. And in some cases, you can put it in as a folder within Outlook. So you're doing all your searching from within Outlook. But here's the West Intraclip's clip directory. Here's all the clips that I've got going on right now. A couple of them are RSS feeds, and we'll go through what that is. Create a new entry. The first thing I have to do is choose what database that I want to run this against. Here is the newspapers, which is typically what Intraclip used to do a lot of, and primarily is going against different newspapers. But recently we went through, and you can now do an Andrews Litigation Reporters. So you can specialize it into topical areas. You can go to the federal cases and circuits by circuit. So you want to see all the new cases on a certain topic on the different circuits. And so on around. Here's the courts by state and territory, state cases by circuit, state cases, federal and state cases, or all case law. So you can do a fairly good current awareness on cases now instead of just newspapers, which you used to be able to do before. But I'm going to go ahead and grab federal cases, Second Circuit, and continue. Here now I'm going to go ahead and put in an entry. I'll just go test. And one of the advantages of using West Interclip is I can just type in the list command, so it'll then list out all the new cases. So instead of having to put in a special case or a special query that, you know, it's murder in the same sentence conviction and I might have a hit, I can go through and say list, and it'll just list me out all the new ones. So I'll just get that way. Then I can kind of go through the list because I'm not looking for a specific thing. I'm just looking for all the new stuff in that circuit. Okay. I want to eliminate duplications, and this is a remnants of the newspapers, where if I had a wires come across and it might be in 15 different publications, this will allow me to dedupe it. Not really going to prevalent to this, but it's still going to be there. And here's where you retrieve your documents no older than. So if you want to go ahead and say, I don't want to do nothing that's more than 15 days old, that's where you can control how old the documents are. Continue. This is the new part. Basically, you could do HTML, which is what it used to be. If you now have a website that's strictly XML, you can do XML coding as well. Or you can do the RSS feed. Okay? Pick the summary, display how many you want maximum to display on a screen. You can, do I want to do an email subscription or not? Search Westlaw link and continue. Now I can control how it looks, so I can match my intranet much closer. Where before you had one look and feel and that was pretty much it. You had to go back into and modify the code. We're now able to pick your own colors so that it looks like it's coming from you instead of from West. You know, so this is more something that, you know, it's West providing the data, but it looks like it's coming from your intranet, so your users think that's where it's coming from, which is nice. I'll keep those. One additional thing down here is if I wanted to even go one step farther into making it look like it's coming from my school, is I can type in my own logo. And I'm just going to grab one that I have out on the internet right now. Okay. You can also now choose to put in your full Westlaw password, or you can on the academic side, and this is one of the things that on the academic side, we are always pushing for, that most academics don't use the client ID, so give us the option of putting something else in there so the user doesn't see it. And we're just going to put law school in there. Continue. Here I can put in my email address if I want it to come through on my email address. And now that's what a sample is going to look like. Here's the logo that I went out and got. So here's where you can put your school logo. So when the user actually clicks on this link, it brings it up. It'll have the school's logo there instead of the West logo. So it's more of bringing this into your environment and making it as close to what you want instead of, you know, more of a vendor neutral is what we're asking. Finish. Okay. There. Okay, now I've got it created, but how integration solutions or Interclip works is the first time I click on it, it's going to run that search against that database on West and port the information over to the Interclip server. So that every time this clip runs, it has a place to update it that's a stationary static URL that all this new stuff feeds into. So that's why when you put this URL out on your intranet or a course management tool, this will always stay there. That URL will always stay there. The data just changes behind it because we're moving this over to another server. And this usually takes about 2 minutes, and then we're set. And there it is. So here's the results from that one. If I click on it, I'll see the first 250 characters from that case. If it's something of interest, I would just click on it, and then it would open up that case. If you want to put this on an intranet, all you have to do is copy that URL. And this is what will show up to the user from that URL. So it's that easy. Yeah? Correct. Yeah. Okay. Back. Flip directory. Now I talked about, oh, it didn't grab the RSS feed. Here's the RSS feed. Does anybody use that right now? The RSS feeds? Let me show you what that is real quick. Oh, it takes a second. On the internet, you can go and get a basic reader. In this case, Sharp Reader will allow you to drag and drop and put all this information into it. That open up and it'll update different things. But what it'll do is you can take that RSS feed and drop it right into it. It's just a drag and drop right into that RSS reader so that it will come up every day in that area. So if you've got multiple intro clips running RSS, here's my RSS feeder. Go back to West Interclip. I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. Here's the coding that's in the background. But as a user, all I have to do is grab this and drag it in and release it. Now I've got that feed in this RSS feeder. And in this case, you know, this is where I do all my checking in the morning. Everything will come into this environment when I see something that I'm interested in, because here's the ones that have been running. I click on that one. Here's that little synopsis that shows. And here's the highlight. When I click on that, it'll actually open up that document. So it's that the RSS feeding will allow you to take multiple feeds and put it in one environment. And this is what people have been asking for, especially on a law firm side, because a lot more people have the interclip type current awareness area. They want to have a centralized reader like this that they can go to. And that's now been changed. It's been a big push. Any questions? You look like a question?
I have no idea what you're talking
Okay.
about. And I'm sure I'm alone, but
Yeah.
I have no clue. I'm just completely lost.
Which is fine. If you're not using RSS, then that's not an uncommon. It's the people that that will have used RSS and they'll know exactly what you're talking about, and that's why I bring it up. If you don't know what it is, hopefully you'll come up. If you come across it, even the RSS is just really simple syndication. It makes it that much easier. It's just taking a lot of little pieces and putting into one centralized location. And you can do current awareness that way. So, you're not alone. Don't worry. Okay? We're right here. Okay, so that's West Interclip. Now the last one we'll talk about is kind of on the same lines as West Interclip, but it's just basic West News. So you can go into West News Link and doing current awareness material. Here's all the different feeds. The most common one, and which is our default, is the Wall Street Journal. So here I can go back 2 weeks on the Wall Street Journal. If I've missed an article, I can pick it up on June 10th. Here's all the main articles that were on the Wall Street Journal on June 10th. I can also then pick a subcategory and do just legal news and pull that in. And there's what hits that one. I can then take this and by saving this URL, put that within a course management tool or within an intranet, and this is what displays for the user. This is really nice for the law firms that wanted to cut out the Wall Street Journal. They're already paying for this material. They don't want the hard copy paper that someone has to go in a library and sit there and read. They want to see all the main articles in their topical search and bring it up right there without having to go down to the library and do it that way. You can go through all the different courts. Here's the Supreme Court for cases. Same thing. you want to set this in, this will show you all the new Supreme Court cases that keep coming in. Again, the URL stays the same. We just feed in all the new information in there, so you don't have to worry about going on an internet and keep changing that URL. Now, with the same concept about those customized pages, I created a couple of them. Went playing around on the U.S. Courts of Appeals, found this map that was out there, and it's been a great teaching tool for me. Oops. I don't have a legal background, so I always had and I cover all law schools across the country. So I keep forgetting which ones are in what circuits. What this will allow you to do is as you go over that circuit, it highlights the states that make up that circuit. And then using integration solutions, once you highlight the Ninth Circuit, you can click on it. It will then bring up the West News link for that circuit. So as a student, if I'm playing around and I need to find out what's in all the different circuits, and I don't remember what states, I can show this, and you can link it off of it, and then I can also do current awareness in that state or that circuit that set that all up. Another one that I'm not quite done with yet, hopefully to finish up here real quick, is U.S. court system. This came across on a West newsletter that's sent out on a monthly basis, and they just had a link to this page. Scanned it in using integration solutions. I was able to take West News link, and I can go to the Supreme Court cases. So as I map out to that, this is something that you typically will pass out to the students. So instead of just passing it out, you can link off of something that they can just refer them to. Here's the court system. You want to do current awareness, everything will be linked off of it. On the other side, if they want to do research on the Supreme Court, I have an integrations control box. So now they can just click on the W and put in their search, and away they go from right here. So I'm going to modify this so that each one of those are next to each one of the different courts. So the user does not have to know what the database identifier is for each one of these. They can do current awareness searching on this court and then do it actually search in that court if they want to do something else. So I'm in the process of adding all those to that, and it'll be added to the list that I put in those that I passed out. There's on the packet that I passed out to you, it's got the integration solutions, the career services page that we talked about. There's the customized page that we talked about. And then there's a integration solution URL list of all the different places out there. As well as I have this online, which is the very last one, I believe. There's a demo page out there. Yeah, the integration solution wizards. If you go back to that one, it'll have a listing of all the different demo pages that you can copy that URL, so it'll go to that page as well. All of these URLs that are mentioned on here are on the internet, and you can go ahead and grab them and paste them into whatever you want to use. So, especially the legislative history one is out there that you can grab a hold of. So, that's that. And that's it. Any questions? Yes. Yep.
I wanted to amend this.
Sure. This is just an HTML page. Yeah. If you want to, this is actually a graphic, and I just applied that to this graphic. This is don't want to get too deep into it, but all this is a graphic that's a wallpaper on an HTML page, and then I put that on top of this little wallpaper. So it's very easy to do. What you can do is I've got my cards up here. If you have an idea of what you want to do and you want to have me try it, I gladly do that. I do a lot of these, and it's typically very easy to do. In the law firm side where I was before, we have tech consultants, and you've probably seen them in your schools that work with the printers and work with the local account managers. I can call on them if I've got too many of these pages, and they'll do them for me as well. And a lot of them will come into the schools. If we're not getting it exactly right, they'll come in and work with you to make sure that we get it right. But we'll create these, and then we'll put them out on the internet or house that West. So all you have to do is put a URL out there. You don't have to worry about trying to get with your IT staff and load it somewhere. We'll load it. All you have to do is put a URL out there. So that's not a problem at all. So, okay, any questions? I know it's the last session of the day, so I was hoping to get you out a little earlier. Yeah, Mike.
You mentioned this, and I know nothing about it. work with any of the so that once you're
there's two ways that we can handle that. Right now, you can go ahead, if it's on my laptop, I can go in and save my password as a cookie on this machine, so I would never have to put my password in again. But if you are happen to be on a public terminal, we are developing with the large law firm something called user-level authentication, where we would load a piece on your network. When you sign in to your school's network, and I'm confirmed, yes, that's Wayne Luethmers, and here's their setup. When Wayne goes to the Westlaw, go over to this database and grab Wayne's Westlaw password and pass it in without him having to type it in. And that's something that we're hoping to have by January of this year. We're testing it with one of our large corporate customers, where in this case, because of their auditing procedures, they want no one to see their Westlaw password, yet they want to have individual sign-ons to track who's doing what, so that someone can't walk out of the door with their Westlaw password and go somewhere else. So what you're asking is probably the user-level authentication, and we're testing it right now. Hopefully by the late fall we'll have something. Yep, same thing. Same thing. Campus Pipeline is a third-party company that will do that, but we're looking at doing it, which, again, as part of West, it would be part of your subscription. Campus Pipeline is another charge, substantial charge, that the university would purchase. This piece that we're looking at testing by the end of the fall, it would be for West, for anything. You would just tie it in and say, here's the URL. When someone hits that URL, go out and get this password. So it'd be a very flexible setup. So that's it. Any other questions? Did I keep you awake?
Sure. I have tons of questions, but that I'm not going to ask them in front of these people.
Same with me. I'm staying for a question.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Visualized consulting session.
I have my business cards up here. If you want to grab one and think of something later, or please give me a call, send me an email, and I can discuss it with you. But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
drop off your raffle entry
Up here, to me.
for the special drawing for people who attend Westlaw.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
For
Can
me.
you take them to the tax site?
Sure.
The tax? Oh, yeah. I want to see tax. I like tax. I teach tax.
Yep. There. Again, these are just databases, and a lot of this stuff I can modify and put databases in here. Change it. This is just a template that, go into different firms, different schools have different ones on here. And I can
I first website. Let's say it's Wilson Trust. Can I put something there that would then so if a student went and took talking about
That's what I want.
yeah.
That's
So
what I'm
that
trying
if
to
I
do.
went to my I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I'm not sure. There's a gap in the beginning, right? As far as-
Exactly. What I would like is when students go to my twin site, that they're on the twin site for this particular course, and then I could say, or they could think to themselves, let me look at current cases, and click on a tab that said current cases or current awareness. And underneath there, click on another link that's going to take them to whatever's happened in the last month in Vermont in this area.
Sure. And you're using Twin?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.